The law of rhythm N. Everything flows in and out. Have you ever noticed how life seems to move in cycles? There are times when everything flows effortlessly. Opportunities appear. Energy is high. Ideas come easily. Life feels like it is moving forward with momentum. And then, almost mysteriously, the rhythm shifts. Energy slows down. Progress feels harder. Motivation fades. Things that once seemed easy suddenly require more effort. Many people interpret these shifts as failure, bad luck, or loss of momentum. But what if these changes are not random at all? What if they are part of a deeper universal pattern that governs everything in existence? This principle is known as the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm states that everything moves in cycles, everything flows in and out, everything rises and falls. Just as the ocean has tides, life itself moves in rhythmic waves. This law teaches that no state remains permanent. Every experience is part of a natural oscillation between two poles. Understanding this law can completely change how you view success, failure, growth, and even emotional experiences. Because once you understand rhythm, you stop fighting the natural flow of life and begin working with it. Look at nature for a moment. The ocean tides rise and fall. Day transitions into night, and night gives way to day. Seasons rotate through spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Even your own body operates through rhythms, your heartbeat, your breathing, your sleep cycles. Everything moves in waves, nothing stays fixed. Even the universe itself expands and contracts on unimaginable scales. The law of rhythm is the principle behind these movements. It explains why life feels like a pendulum swinging back and forth between different states. In Hermetic philosophy, this idea is often described as the pendulum effect. The pendulum swings to the right, and inevitably, it must swing to the left. The farther it swings in one direction, the stronger the swing in the opposite direction. This movement creates the dynamic balance of the universe. Consider emotions as an example. There are moments of joy and moments of sadness, periods of excitement followed by times of reflection, waves of motivation followed by periods of rest. Most people try to eliminate the downward phases entirely. They want constant happiness, constant productivity, constant success. But the law of rhythm shows us that this is not how life works. Just as breathing requires both inhaling and exhaling, growth requires both expansion and integration. The downward rhythm is not a failure of the upward rhythm. It is part of the same cycle. In fact, many of the most important breakthroughs in life happen during the quieter phases, the moments when the pendulum swings inward. Think about creativity. Artists, writers, and inventors often experience powerful bursts of inspiration followed by periods of silence and reflection. Those quiet periods are not empty. They are the incubation stage, where ideas mature beneath the surface. The same pattern appears in business, personal growth, and spiritual development. There are seasons of building and seasons of harvesting. Seasons of action and seasons of preparation. The law of rhythm teaches us that both are essential. Understanding this law also removes much of the fear people feel during difficult times. When someone experiences a setback, they often assume it means they are moving backward permanently. But rhythm tells us something different. Every downward movement contains the potential energy for the next upward swing. Just like a wave must pull back before it can surge forward, life sometimes moves backward to gather momentum. This perspective transforms the way we interpret challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as final outcomes, we begin to recognize them as transitional phases within a larger cycle. And when you understand rhythm, you also gain the ability to anticipate cycles. Successful people in many fields intuitively understand this principle. Farmers know that crops grow in seasons. Investors understand that markets move in cycles. Athletes recognize that the body requires periods of recovery after intense training. They do not resist rhythm, they align with it. And this is where the deeper application of the law of rhythm becomes powerful. Because once you become aware of these cycles, you can begin to master your response to them. There is a concept in Hermetic teachings called rhythmic neutralization. This does not mean stopping the pendulum completely. That would be impossible. Instead, it means developing the ability to remain cantered even as the external cycles continue. Imagine standing at the center of a swinging pendulum. The movement still exists, but you are no longer thrown dramatically from one extreme to the other. You observe the rhythm without being controlled by it. Emotionally, this means maintaining stability even when circumstances fluctuate. Mentally, it means understanding that both success and difficulty are temporary phases. When things are going well, you appreciate the moment without becoming overly attached. When challenges arise, you remain calm because you know the rhythm will eventually swing again. This mindset creates resilience. It also creates wisdom. Instead of reacting impulsively to every shift in circumstances, you begin to see the larger pattern unfolding. Something remarkable happens when you reach this level of awareness. You begin to use rhythm to your advantage. During upward cycles, you take action, build momentum, and create progress. During quieter cycles, you rest, reflect, and refine your vision. You stop expecting constant acceleration and start honoring the natural balance between movement and stillness. This approach produces sustainable growth rather than burnout. It allows creativity to flourish without forcing it, and it transforms the way you relate to time. Because the law of rhythm reminds us that life is not a straight line, it is a series of waves. Some waves are high, some are low, but together they create the motion of the ocean. Even personal transformation follows this pattern. Growth rarely happens all at once. It unfolds through cycles of learning, practicing, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Each cycle moves you a little further along the path. Over time, these rhythms compound into profound change. And perhaps the most comforting aspect of the law of rhythm is this. No matter where you are in the cycle, the movement is never finished. If you are experiencing a high moment, the rhythm will eventually ask you to slow down and integrate. If you are in a difficult season, the rhythm will eventually carry you upward again. Nothing remains fixed forever. The tide always turns. The night always gives way to morning. Every winter eventually becomes spring. Understanding this law allows you to move through life with greater patience and clarity. You no longer panic when the pendulum swings. Instead, you recognize the movement as part of the design of existence. You trust the rhythm. You work with the cycles rather than resisting them. And in doing so, you develop a deeper harmony with the flow of the universe itself. Because at the deepest level, the law of rhythm reminds us of a simple but powerful truth. Everything moves, everything breathes, everything flows out and flows back in, just like the tides of the ocean. Life itself is a rhythm, and those who learn to move with it discover a deeper kind of power, balance, and peace.